Right, chaps, I understand the predicament that you are in. You are in your early 20s and you want to make a lot of money and you want to go and have a fun life, but a lot of that comes with cutting out distractions. And when it comes to natural human desires and hormones and women are unfortunately, bless them, viewed, rightly or wrongly, as a distraction when it comes to trying to make money and push on to be the best person that you can in your life, because they take up time. And so anything that takes up time that isn't money orientated is generally viewed as a distraction. That's something that I will debate with you another day. But nonetheless, I understand the predicament that you're in. You want to continue seeing women and enjoying the other side of the human species without having to worry about distracting yourself and working less and having a lower output. Today I'm going to be discussing how I do that, how I best still continue to have women in my life without wasting time elsewhere. And it's done through dating apps. I'm going to tell you exactly how. I don't like to get into any BS or skip the fluff. We're going to go straight into it. Dating apps. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to set up your life around dating apps to achieve this outcome. The problem is, if you're dating women that are in your hometown and they're 10, 15, 20 minutes away, and you could be there within that same amount of time on a Friday night or on a Tuesday afternoon, or you could pop into town and see them for a coffee, that's where the issue lies. That's where the distraction lies. When you're sat there and you've done a little bit of work and you think, oh, I'd love to go and have a coffee with a woman right now, you can, because they're so close. Now, the way you isolate that problem so that you don't get distracted and you don't have that, oh, I could be sat with my feet up with a woman next to me, is you don't have them in your city. You have them a little bit further away. The tactic and the ultimate thought process to this is you increase the barrier to entry to the distraction. If you have women further away and maybe you have to book a hotel to go and see them, or you've got to drive to go and see them, get a train, whatever that might be, it's going to immediately make it a bit trickier than just walking 15 minutes down the road and knocking on their front door. And that's where the distraction lies. So the tactic and the strategy is dating apps, because that's how you meet women in cities that are further away than your own. The dating apps I'd recommend are Hinge and Tinder. You could argue Bumble, or I don't know what other dating apps there are. Hinge and Tinder are the best two. Hinge is the best, Tinder is second best. Tinder is very low quality generally. You can find a few diamonds in the rough, as with anything in life, there's anomalies. But Hinge, I would say, is better. The mentality that you want to have after you've set up your account, and we'll do a different video talking about profiles, pictures, etc., and how to set up your account. But the mentality that you want to have, you set the account up, you put your range at 50 miles, I don't know, depends where you live, around about 50 miles, is, in general, this is a dating tip in general now. You never want to have an expectation for dating. You never want to go in there thinking, I need to find my wife, I want to find my girlfriend, I want to just have fun. That also applies. You should never have that I just want to have fun and nothing more. You should go in with the open mindset of what happens, happens, and let nature play its course, if you will. So the mentality that you want to have is the exact same thing. What happens, happens. Ultimately, you want to use these opportunities to go and see women as motivation for you to lock in for the next 3-4 weeks before you book the 1 or 2 nights where you go and see them. At first, I'd recommend 1, of course. It's a bit weird to go and book 2. Now, in an ideal world, as a perfect example, if you live in, let's say, Oxford, ideal world, you might want to go on dates with someone that's in like Manchester or Birmingham or something that takes a couple of hours to get there, 2 hours maybe, an hour and a half, 2 hours, just to increase the level of friction. This is a game of increasing the level of friction between going and seeing her so that you don't feel the impulse to do it when you just can't be asked with your work. And that's ultimately the issue where the distraction argument comes in. So you try and date women who are about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from you. You book a nightly hotel to go and see her. Don't expect her to stay with you or anything like that, especially if you never met her before. Never have any expectation, always open-minded, as with all of dating. If what happens, happens, great. If it doesn't happen, then cool. You're gonna go and you're gonna have a nice day away. You're gonna go out for a nice meal and you're gonna treat yourself to a nice hotel and just relax and get out of your environment and have that change. If something else happens, if she comes back, great, cool. Cheerio you if that's what you're after. But otherwise, it's just a nice weekend away. That is going to serve as your motivation for all of the weeks prior that you're going to be doing the work. And it also means that you can't just spontaneously go and see her because she is 2 hours away. Now, you still can spend a couple of £100, well, whatever you're looking at. I mean, it doesn't have to be a lot. For example, a Travelodge is £40 if you do it on a Sunday or Monday. There's my tip for you. Sunday, Monday is a lot cheaper than a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday through to Saturday night. Go on Sundays and Mondays. Travelodges are £36, £40 a night instead of 120. There you go, there's a tip for you straight away in there. You want to use that as your motivation to work harder in the weeks prior. And then when you're there, you want to be open, and you want to open as an open-minded, not open to them and start pouring and trauma dumping. Open-minded with what happens. Because again, you should never go into anything looking just for fun, and you should never go into anything looking for a wife. That's my personal opinion. I think it's a mindset that works very well. If it comes to the point, and this is where the moral argument now comes in, you shouldn't use someone, quote unquote, just for motivation and a bit of fun for one weekend. If it gets to the point where you're like, oh, I can never date this girl long term, then you should communicate with that to them so that you're not leading them on. It's just the ethical thing to do. If you've had fun and they've had fun too, then my way would be you say that whatever the reason is, busy guy is generally a good reason, especially if it's true. I'm a busy guy, it wouldn't be fair on you for us to date. I know that's what you're after. If that is what she's after, if she hasn't mentioned dating and relationships, you maybe don't have to do this. Only you can gauge it. If you know she's after a relationship, then this is the point where you should say, look, I'm a busy guy. You're great, I've had a lot of fun with you, but it's best for me to say, no, I'm not after a relationship. I have had fun. If you want to continue seeing me, I'll continue seeing you. If not, I understand, and you part ways. And that's how you have the fun with women, the spontaneity and everything else that comes on those dates, etc. And you build up a bit of hype for yourself and you use that as motivation. You're still seeing women. You're just not going out and having all of the coffee dates, which you can still do. You can still set up coffee dates with women in your hometown. And this isn't to say don't date women in your hometown, because maybe your wife's in your hometown. But you shouldn't just have this mentality of like, oh, it's just fun. Again, open-minded with what happens. You can still go out on coffee dates and dinner dates, whatever you want to do in your hometown. But when it comes to something a bit more continuous, that's where I would look further away from home, because that's where you're going to be sat there on the Friday night or on the Tuesday morning, and you're going to think, I want to go out for breakfast. I might invite this girl, and then it turns into a whole day of things, and you go and get coffee and ice cream and walk through the park and you start holding hands and crap. Like, that's where the distraction is. And you can still have that experience, but use that as motivation. Don't do it spontaneously. And that's where them being an hour and a half, 2 hours away comes in a lot more effective for the motivation. And you don't have the desire to get distracted as easy, because you can't. Again, the friction is high, the barrier to entry is high. Don't be unethical with it. I think I've covered the ethics side appropriately. Have the open mind. You need to have an open mind, because if you're going into it thinking I'm just going to have fun, not only does it end up being a complete, I was going to say waste of money, but I mean, you can call it an investment, if you will. An investment of your fun. You're going to go and have some fun, blah, blah, blah. But don't go into these things looking just for fun and nothing more. Not only because you should always be open-minded, but also because if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But why are you going to go and spend £150 to go and see a woman? £200 when you don't think there's anything in it? And if you do go and see her and you don't think there's anything in it, but she's great fun and you like being around her, but she is too far away, or like you are just too busy, then communicate that if necessary. Gauge the situation. If she's not after a relationship at all and she's never mentioned it, and you go in there after the third time of seeing her and say, look, I'm never going to be able to be in a relationship with you, she might think, what relationship? I wasn't even thinking about that. So you do have to gauge it off her as well, but do all of this in an ethical way. The ultimate thing is, in one line, date further out. Date half seriously further out, because if it does blossom into something more serious, you need them to miss you anyway for a better dating dynamic. I mean, that's another video, another topic, but you shouldn't always be around them, because it kind of goes back to supply and demand. If the supply of you is less, you see them less, then the demand is higher and they appreciate their time with you more, blah, blah, blah. So in general, you shouldn't always be seeing your partner, personal opinion. But even more so, like, it limits the amount of distraction that you have. It increases the level of motivation. You're going to be more present when you're with them. Win, win, win. That's what I would do. Hinge, Tinder, set your radius a bit further out. And later on in another video, we'll discuss about dating profiles, etc., how to set that up, how to get the matches, how to talk to women, etc. We'll discuss that. But that is my tip for you on what I would do and what I do in my 20s when I'm ambitious, I'm trying to crack on. I don't want to get distracted at midday on a Wednesday, and I still want to see some women. That's what I do. Now, if you enjoyed that video, then there'll be another video around about there. I forget it's on that side. I'm always used to pointing over this way because it's, I don't know, maybe I'm left-handed, so maybe that's just the way I go, I don't know. But over there, there'll be a video that you might appreciate watching. And if you do appreciate watching, then maybe you can watch another one after. Have a good day nonetheless. Ciao.